Situation with reproductive labor. Now, some of it goes on in the home, some of it goes on paid in people's homes, some of it goes on in institutions and is wage, but very underpaid, extremely underpaid. So I think there's a whole question about how girls are being socialized. What are the expectations that are being cultivated for them? And that's complicated because in a country like this one, you've got a pop culture, mass culture that often presents images of young women as sexually autonomous and powerful and so on. And yet they're also very, very sexualized and objectified. This is already a bit of a contradiction. I'd like to know what kind of research we have, if any, about the relative frequency in which girls in hookup culture have orgasms versus boys. Right? I mean, there are all kinds of things going on here.
And good morning, good evening, good afternoon. And welcome to Dreamy Dreamland with Sensei Alban. You're just waking up. This is what you're dreaming about.
So many aspects of this question.
And don't believe a word I say. And this is a eloquent.
To Nancy Fraser on capitalism, COVID, and the climate crisis. She spoke in New York in April 2022. Nancy
At my
Fraser
alma
teaches
mater.
at the New School in New York. She's the author of Fortunes of Feminism and Cannibal Capitalism. This program is produced by Alternative Radio based in Boulder, Colorado. We are an independent, progressive nonprofit in our 37th year. We're supported solely by individuals just like you. We feature voices rarely heard in the corporate media, such as Henry Giroux, Bill McKibben, Vandana Shiva, Roger Hallam, Yanis Varoufakis, Katrina Vanden Heuvel, Michael Eric Dyson,
You should read these
and
people.
Roxanne Dunbar Ortiz. To access our complete audio and book catalog, just go to our website, alternativeradio.org. Again, our website where we are podcasting, alternativeradio.org.
You should go check that out.
To order copies of today's program, Nancy Fraser on capitalism, COVID, and the climate crisis, and for Noam Chomsky's book, Consequences of Capitalism, just give us a call at 1-800-444-1977. Again, that's 1-800-444-1977. Or go online, our website, alternativeradio.org. That's alternativeradio.org. We're offering printed transcripts, PDFs, and MP3s of this program at no charge. Just call us at 1-800-444-1977. Joe Ritchie is our general manager and editor. I'm David Barsamian. Thank you for listening. We go out with Loudon Wainwright III. Hard Day.
I was trying to find this to open with. So here we are. 1, 2. It's a great song. I love it.
The dollar went down and the president said, who's in charge now? I don't know, take your pick. A new disease every day and the old ones are coming back. Things are looking kind of great, like they're going to get flat. Don't turn on the TV, don't show me the pit. Don't want to know he got kidnapped or why they all raped him. I want to go on vacation till the pressure lets up. But they keep hijacking airplanes and blowing them up. It's been a hard day on the planet.
Oh, yeah.
How much is it all worth?
I want to get on that rocket ship.
Do I understand it? Things have come all over on Earth.
Oh, yeah.
It's hot in December, cold in July. When it rains, it pours out of a poisonous sky. In California, the body counts keep getting higher.
Yeah.
It's evil out there, man. That state is always on fire.
That state is always on
Everyone has
fire.
a system, but they can't seem to win. Even Bob Geldorf was alarming this then. I got to get on that shuttle, get me out of this place. But there's gonna be warfare up there in outer space. It's been a hard day on the planet. How much is it all worth?
How much is it all worth?
It's harder to understand it. Things are tough all over on Earth. This ocean, what a dump. This is Sandra
I'll be right
Tinglow
back.
with the lowdown on science.
Think of the question.
Pieces of plastic enter the ocean
How to be
daily.
happy
This poses a
and what's
huge
it worth?
threat to marine
and how
life.
you gonna pay your bills.
Dolphins trapped in plastic bags. Are we the only ones to reduce, reuse, and recycle? Enter Tainá Freitas and colleagues from the Federal University of Rio Grande in Brazil. They collected over 250 images to observe octopus interactions with litter. The octopics came from databases and social media all over the world. Octopi are intelligent creatures who need natural shelters. These shelters are hard to find as the ocean warms, yet octopuses survive incredibly. How? In over half of the images, the octopi were using litter for shelter. How tentacool! They made glass bottles and aluminum cans their home, especially to protect their eggs. Some also used plastic litter for essential activities like burrowing and walking. This study highlights the resourcefulness of some marine life in a changing environment. But don't even think about leaving your trash at the beach, Buster. The Lowdown on Science is produced by LDOS Media Lab in partnership with the University of California Irvine Science Communication and 89.3 KPCC, and made possible with the generous support of the Fuse Family Foundation.
I'm Jim White, host of Song of the Mountains. This award-winning television series is the Tri-City's first digital HD radio service, WETS HD1 and WETS FM, Johnson City, Tennessee.
Sticking your fingers in a light bulb socket can give you a nasty, possibly fatal shock.
But although a bolt of lightning carries orders of magnitude more voltage, people do survive being hit by one.
Although it's an incredible amount of energy, it's applied over a very short period of time, which is why the injuries and stuff we see are pretty different than a typical electrical shock that you have from like a high voltage power line or household electrical wire.
Although Ben's kite experiment was electrifying, there's a lot we still don't know about that incredible amount of energy in the atmosphere.
Ever since Franklin flew his famous experiment, we've been studying lightning in many different ways.
We take a grounded look at the science of those bolts in the sky, including why they're becoming more frequent in some places.
The most current news in this episode of Big Picture Science is like lightning.
Ooh. Buddy.
Live from NPR News in Washington,
Here's the
I'm
news.
Jack Spear. A federal judge in Florida has named a long-serving New York jurist as special master to review the materials seized by the FBI in search of former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. It's the latest in the legal battle over the court-authorized search of Trump's Florida state.
U.S. District Court Judge Eileen Cannon has appointed Raymond Deary to serve as special master in the Mar-a-Lago matter. Deary is a veteran federal judge in New York, and both the Justice Department and Trump's attorneys have said he is an acceptable choice for the role. Cannon has tasked Deary with reviewing the records seized at Mar-a-Lago for potentially privileged materials. She has instructed him to try to finish his work by November 30th. Judge Cannon, who is a Trump appointee, also denied a Justice Department request to lift her order, temporarily barring the government from using in its ongoing criminal investigation some 100 classified documents taken from Mar-a-Lago. The Justice Department has promised to appeal. Ryan Lucas, NPR News, Washington.
In a move the White House and critics contend is nothing
Hey
more
there.
than a political stunt to Republican governors have
Hey.
flown or bust migrants from their states for wealthy Democratic enclaves. And they want to make a point about the burden.
I'm doing okay. What you doing?
I choose to be well.
That boy.
It's my well voice. Can you tell? Beep, boop, boop, I'm well. Beep, boop, bop, boop, beep. I'm doing fine.
Well, you know, the one good thing about
My
being
ship,
sick is
my
you can
ship isn't working. Boop, beep.
just. I don't know. You're not old enough, but there was a great TV show in the '60s called Astro Boy.
That was the animated.
Yes, Japanese animated.
I'm familiar with it, but I was not watching it.
Right,
As
right.
it aired.
Well, that's that. You know,
I know.
that was me. I had that same haircut, that little thing of hair going straight up there, and just wearing swimming trunks, you know, and having rocket legs, and yeah, that was me.
He used to call you Rocket Leg.
Yeah, rocket leg, Astro Boy.
girl.
Yep. And then there was Gigantor. That was another great Japanese.
The girls called you Third Leg Rocket.
Yes, right. When I got older, yes.
He called you Tripod.
Tripod, yes. Yeah. Yep. Good old tripod. So you're
Yes, you're gonna hear a different side of you. I'm just warning you.
okay. Good. That's good.
It's coming. Buckle up.
Buckle up, kids. We're
Buckle up.
we're live today, so
Oh boy.
yes, giving our Magic Man a motivation to be Astro Boy. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Listen, if that's what the. Thank you.
Yes,
Because I need it.
yes. That's why I'm calling. I always know when to call.
You do. Well, it works out.
Yes, it works out.
Works out. As it always does.
And always will be.
Robert needs to really. It's just a struggle for me to take that on some days, man.
Yeah, well, it is for everyone. I mean, yeah, I'm lucky to be out in the middle of nowhere. That the only person who really can, you know, is the squirrel and the rabbit and the butterfly. You know, my friends. You know, so. They never do anything. You know, they could all annoy me, but they don't. They do a nice job of being very supportive. So.
Yeah, they're not biting you, which is good.
No, I mean, you know, the rabbit could be gnawing away on my garden, but he just mows the lawn, you know?
That's cool.
The squirrel could, you know, do all kinds of squirrely things, but doesn't. I mean, I was fixing my roof. I'm kind of getting ready for winter. And because I can't see too well and I wasn't wearing, you know, I have like 5 different types of glasses to wear. And I didn't see the hornet's nest that I kind of hit with a hammer. So they got, and I was on a ladder, so I couldn't just run away. Yeah, but they only got me. I mean, they swarmed all over me, and really only got me once. The rest I kind of whooshed away. So
Yeah.
so one, and I wasn't wearing any long sleeve shirt or anything. I actually had no. I mean, they could have really eaten me up. I had no shirt on whatsoever. So.
You're wearing Daisy Dukes.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah. Golden.
Daisy Dukes, I'm sure.
Golden. Actually, I was wearing hot pants.
Gold lame. Hot
Gold,
pants.
yeah, gold lame hot pants. Yep.
That's a look.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, that's. Every now and then, I just have to, you know, just have to do it.
Nothing wrong with that.
So the other day, there's a school I'm trying to. It's way out. It's a holler school, and it's the last of like the little red schoolhouses, and they have. You know, pretty much kindergarten to 12th grade, and they got about 100 kids. And, you know, basically everyone in that area, you know, when I first moved there were 19,000 of them. Now there's 3,000 of them, and basically everyone died of meth or OxyContin. So all these kids are being taken care of their grandparents or somebody else who's drunk and on drugs and harassing them. And then they come to this school, and the school is made up of teachers who, well, 95% are teachers who come from there who were those kids 20, 30 years ago. And,
Wow.
and the principal has been there forever, so he knows everyone loves him. And I stumbled across him, and I'm like his new best friend, because he has no one really. He's a smart guy. He knows what's going on, but he has to be like Mr. Green Jeans, Mr. Jovial, everything. And he keeps it all together. Meaning, if he were to retire, that school would close. But the powers that be of the state use it as a laboratory. And they send in all these people who test the kids and, do all kinds of things with them other than teach them. And every time I'm not there 24, I'm not there a lot, maybe once a week, if that. And the kids really love me. They really, because the other teachers have their back. They know they're loved, but they don't tell them, because those teachers get a paycheck and have to tell them what the state wants them to tell them. Me, I tell them, let me read your palm, and I give them a straight up.
Well, you're still doing that. Good. I'm glad.
Yeah. As best as I can. And so these guys.
Last time we spoke, they said they were. Unfortunately, they couldn't.
Well, they don't want me there, but the principal is okay with it, and actually the guy who runs the whole system who's my buddy. He's all right with it, but both those guys, have their position, but they have no real power. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever. Organizational structures.
I definitely understand that. Certainly.
So they kind of can let me cruise in, and I go along with all the protocols.
I'm glad. I'm glad you didn't get discouraged and just say, "Oh, they're not giving me any food." So
No.
That's not you.
That's not me.
At least, I'm just getting to know you, but I would assume that that's not you. So.
Right. So I went in there, and it's like a gauntlet. You come in the front, they got all the security, blah, 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 which they should have, right? And so I walked in, and as you walk through the front door, they have all the pictures of the state capitol, the state legislator, the governor, and everything's state-oriented, right? And so I came in with these photos and that I took of this area in 1965, the first time I went on the AT. And I, when I was playing around with large negatives, I, blew them up. So I had a bunch of them of like the hills where the school is, and so I took all of the state representing things and put these pictures of the neighborhood. I had no idea that 40 years later I would be at the school, because I was just on the AT at like 17. Anyway, so I put them on. I took the state ones down. Luckily, they didn't screw them to the wall. They just had a little hook, and I took it down and hung all these up. And so the guy was like overjoyed, right? And so we kind of put the state ones in the closet and put those up, and the kids liked them, right? So he has to go off and do stuff, and I'm in his office with his secretary. She really runs the place. And she's really smart and really good. And pretty much everyone who works there is pretty smart and pretty good and really supports the kids. But they're like the kids, so they have that same self-loathing thing going on. And only those two guys somehow missed the self-loathing thing, right? And so, and they're like, they're aware, they're awake, and they're aware and awake enough to just, do their best and not annoy the powers that be. Where me, I annoy anything that's close to the powers that shouldn't be. And so, anyway, so I'm in there, and they got the TV cameras everywhere, and she sees this guy come in the front door. Me, I push the thing, and she'd answer, and then they had to go through the protocol. And so, if the guy who answers the door is there, then I get let in right away. If not, like when I had all those pictures, I was waiting out there. So I just started doing stand-up comedy because I'm right in front of all these cameras, and it gets recorded. So I just go on and on and on and on and on. And the lady who's in the office, she keeps coming on the speaker going, I love this. This is like my own TV show. I said, that's right. I'll keep doing this. She goes, most people get annoyed and start screaming and yelling, but you're just, unbelievable. So anyway, I said, okay. So they finally let me in, and I talked to the guy. We hang the pictures up. We go into his office. We talk to his secretary, we kid around. And then we're looking at the big screen that has like 20 little pictures on it. And there are these guys who are coming in, and they're like, wanting to be let in right away. So instead of pushing the button, going through the protocol, they're knocking on the window, right? And this guy, one of the guys, is he's kind of a substitute teacher. He's a new substitute, he just started. And he came from Texas. And when the boss had me read his palm, I said, where are you from? Houston. I said, oh, so let's see your palm. I said, so are you a rocket scientist? He said, no. I said, oh, you're an investment real estate banker. And he nearly shit a brick because he said, that's exactly what I am. I said, yeah. Anyway, so, and then he couldn't stand Texas anymore because all of those people were moving in. So he came to out there in the woods. So anyway, that's him, right? And one day we were sitting around, a bunch of teachers and him, and he said, we should, get the state to give money to here, and we will make every one of these students be in ROTC. I said, the kindergartners? He goes, yeah. And I said,
you told me about this, gentleman.
Right. And I said, so did you ever serve in the military? No. And I left it at that. So he comes back with this guy who has a box of little print, constitutions, and they're going to give a lecture about the Constitution. And so they come in, and they basically broke in, meaning they kept knocking on the window until some kid who knew who he was as a substitute teacher let him in. Well, there were two other guys that nobody knows. They could have had a gun on his head, and who knows, right? That's totally, and we were watching this, and the head guy was off doing something, and so the secretary said, I can't leave. And she's just annoyed. She goes, this guy always does this. He thinks he owns the place. He's da-da-da-da-da. I said, well, I act that way. She goes, but you own the place. You everyone loves you. You do everything. But this guy, he just annoys everyone because he's rich. He thinks he's rich, and so he's treating all the kids like they are worthless, meaning they should go join the army and die for Wall Street, right? So the two guys who come in, one is another investment banker, and the other guy is a Air Force. He goes, this guy's a hero. He flew B-52s. And my dad was a bird colonel. I know the Air Force very, very well. And yeah, so I said, oh, really?
He won no fried chicken, I tell you that.
Right, exactly. And so I say to the guy, so what kind of buff did you fly? What? He goes, what? I said, what letter? He goes, what? I said, you were flying B-52s, correct? He goes, yes. I said, that aircraft has been in the U.S. Air Force closet, for the last 60 years. And they have it from what letter to what letter. And he's still, meaning, so they have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, all the way to K, right? And the K was manufactured like in the maybe 1998, right? And so, same airframe, but different motors, different this, different that. And all of those different letters do different things, right? And so, and he still done it. I said, so you were just a chauffeur? And he goes, what? I said, if you're a captain flying, I said, what seat did you sit in? He goes, what? I said, was it the left or the right seat? And he said, what? I said, that's why he only got out as a captain, because most non-com officers have more rank than a U.S. Air Force captain. He got very upset. And then I said, so who did you kill? He goes, what? I said, yeah, you're too young to be in Vietnam, so, who did you drop bombs on? And he goes, Desert Storm, the only good war. I said, buddy, there are no good wars, right? And then I just tacked to the Constitution. I said, so can I have one of those? Oh, no, they're for the kids only. I said, oh, really? You know, they only, so you're here to give propaganda. And, you know, he said, what? I said, well, and then I tacked again. I said, do you know why we have a constitution? Well, we're a democracy. I said, no, sorry, we're not. We're a republic. And the republic was for that rich 140 guys, not anybody else. Not for women, not for anybody else, right? And I said, so do you know why we have a constitution? And he said, because we're a democracy. I said, no, because of Shays' rebellion. And that was, you know, nobody wanted to have a revolution.
They didn't want to have a king.
Right, they wanted to have a king.
That was the idea.
Right. And the other thing was, the whatchamacallit.
And it's unbelievable. A man of his age doesn't even know that,
Right.
regardless of all that other pomp and circumstance.
Right, exactly. And it's bullshit.
But
Because,
just to not even know that.
Yep.
That's shameful. That's
or what the Shay Rebellion in? The Shay Rebellion was, you know, when they, you know, England wanted to get out of America, but they were too far in by like 100 years. And so they were tired of paying the bill. So they were doing things like, you know, why was there tax on tea? Because they were bringing England's bank into America because every county, every state had their own cash. And so, you know, the rich guys, Washington, Jefferson, those guys, didn't want the king to step on their gig. So that's why they had the rebellion, right? But nobody wanted to fight the war. There was a third of the people who wanted to be, you know, we love the king. We're English, right? The other third who's out there in the hinterlands and they couldn't get a hold of them. And that other third were the serfs. You know, they work at itinerant farmers. And so Washington rode up on them and said, you know, pulled guns on them, said, okay, you're going to be in the army. No, we don't want to.
Yeah, it's a forced conscription.
Right, right. And so
they just said no.
Right. And so he said, okay.
You wear a wig and you have cadaver teeth.
Right.
Get off my land or I'll shoot you.
Right. So he said, this is what it's going to be. You're going to come fight, and we will give you your little 3 acres of a farm here, right? And so they said, okay. So they went off and did that, and they lost every battle they ever had. And then at the end, England said, okay, we give up, see you later, bye. Because that's really what they wanted to do anyway. So they left.
It was a war of attrition.
Right. They left, and
just wear them down.
And their whole plan was to let them win, go back to England, let the doddering old fools screw things up for about 30 years, and then come back for the War of 1812, when they would read them the Riot Act. But so everyone went back home, and those guys got their 2 acres. But the guys who used to own them changed all the laws around, so they had to pay taxes and this, and all those people lost their property in 2 years. And then because they had a gun, they were kind of military trained, they had a rebellion where they ate all of those rich guys' lunch. And that's why the Shays of Rebellion got us the Constitution, because we had to have a strong central government and still let all the states do whatever the fuck they wanted to, right? And that's what our Constitution did.
You didn't want a centralized government.
All you wanted was a centralized government to keep the rabble down.
Right. You don't want that.
Right. And that's why the Second Amendment isn't so those guys who had to farm could have a gun. It's so the rich guys could have their own militia and shoot the poor people. That's the Second Amendment. So anyway, I told that to those guys. So it wasn't just those 3 morons who had no idea, but they were going to teach the kids about the Constitution. But the 2 head guys were there, and 4 other teachers were there in the hallway, and a couple of kids. And I just laid that down about as quick as I laid it down for you. And then I walked away. I went back into the principal's office and had a cup of coffee with the secretary. And she was watching it the whole time, and she was giggling and laughing. And she said, whoa, that was pretty amazing. And she goes, I never knew that. I said, yeah, no one knows about this shit, but that's our story. We don't tell that story.
You can always recommend if you listen to a Howard Zinn lecture on Shays Rebellion.
Yeah.
You can point them in the right direction.
Yeah.
It's important actually have a question
Go for it, baby.
based on what you just shared. And like I said, I'm feeling a bit
Verklempt and under the weather.
cantankerous.
Right.
Almost suet, but I like you. Too much of an ass. Okay. Point well taken. What you shared.
Right.
I'm going to be devil's advocate. I mean,
Go for it, baby.
Pretty much on board with everything that you said. But my concern is, granted, you're there to help the kids, right? That's the mission. Right?
Well,
Would you feel-
I'm there to wake people up. Everybody. Not
Okay.
just,
All right. All right. Well, then my question should probably change. I guess what I'm getting at. Do you think that in pushing boundaries with maybe the powers that think they are in this particular institution may end your mission of waking up people sooner rather than later?
No, not really, because I'm not there a lot. I'm there. I've been there maybe 5 times in the last month and a
No,
half.
just because I'm saying, like, it would be cool, like, if you can continue on there, and then I get where you're coming from and trying to wake everybody up, but sometimes we've got to be a little covert. You know what I mean?
Well,
But that's-
I would have if they gave me a job and was giving me a paycheck. Yes, I'd be very covert.
Okay.
But because I just kind of drop in every now and then,
Right. Okay.
So that's and I could have been, meaning I could have waited till they were in the gym with 100 kids going on about the Constitution and wanting everyone to join the army, and I could have just chopped their legs out, but I didn't. It's just
Yeah, you could have used that form. Okay.
right, and I could have even been worse.
Yeah.
I spent all of and I wouldn't have said anything until when we were talking about the Air Force. And I said that my dad was a bird colonel, and he was, Colonel LeMay's XO, and he worked with McNamara. And the guy had no idea who those people were, right? And then I said, he was pretty much in charge of incinerating Japan. And the guy's answer was, well, somebody had to. And that's when I was like, if I had been younger, I would have jumped him, right? But I just said, that's when I said, I tacked to the Constitution. I said, so you know what the Shays Rebellion is? So, and then, then I gave him that, and then I just turned around, and instead of having an argument or anything, I just kind of laid that down. Everyone had their mouth open, and there was one guy who's the history teacher. He knew what thing that I said that's what it was. But he can't say that to the kids because he has to use the textbook that the state authorizes. So he was kind of, almost smiling. Other people had their mouth open. The 2 bosses were like, they didn't tell me to shut up. They didn't tell me to get out. I just, said what I said to you in about 3 minutes and turned around and went in and had a cup of coffee with the secretary. So I do what I can do, and that's about it. And pretty much in the last 10 years, that's what I've been doing what I can do. So, and that's, good. Right now, for all the stuff that's going on, and people won't even be able to appreciate what's heading our way. The 19, the Ukraine, all of that is just a warmer upper, right, for what's coming. But my sense of things is that these guys have the unipolar power structure has already lost. They know they lost. And they're just throwing as much spaghetti to the wall as they can. So,
Right.
I think I talk to everyone when I'm out and about. I talk to everyone, and they all get it. They kind of all, yeah. You know, because I said to this lady today at Walmart, she was making my
Well, the shit hits a fan.
Right.
Man. You can't see it now.
right.
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 God bless you.
God
Really.
bless you. Yes, right. Yeah. And to realize that the shit has hit the fan, and still everything's kind of hanging together in a way that it isn't being hung together by
That's the extraordinary thing.
right. And it's not being hung together by our political structure or our leadership.
No.
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 And it's
There is a spiritual element that is operating.
yes, and that's what I talk about. So the other thing that's really going on here is
And thank you for reminding me of that,
Right,
'cause
right.
I was definitely feeling like the bottom dropped out yesterday. It was really in a dark place.
well, because it's the bottom has not dropped out.
No, I know that's in my head.
Right.
But you can, that can be a dangerous neighborhood. At least for a guy like me.
Right. So have you, whenever I come into people like today, I was in Walmart. I hit some pretty interesting people in Walmarts today. And so there was a kid and he was just lit up and he's like working there and he's packing the bags for, when people just drive in and get, they don't even come into Walmart. So they just, and so I said, I asked him, so where's the this, where's the that? And he knew he didn't have to look on his little computer. He knew where it was. So obviously this guy's pretty smart. So I look at him and say, here is a guy who has been in the military. And he was, not just a grunt. He had a real job that they spent some money on training him. So anyway, I don't go straight to that. I go straight to another tack. And we start talking about this, that, the other thing. I read his palm and I say everything other than you were, in SEAL Team 6 and you have blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. Everything, I just kind of danced around it all. And I said, so you've been jumping out of airplanes for a few years, haven't you? He goes, yeah. I said, so you hurt your back, haven't you? He said, yeah. Anyway, so we talk. So I keep talking like that. And he finally says, you're an interesting guy. I haven't, the only person I know that's kind of like you is a old guy like you at the VA. And he's every kind of doc there is. And he is, I'm part of one of his, guys he takes care of. And he's been giving me, things to open my mind. I said, yeah, that's a good, I was doing that with the guys at the VA in the 60s. Anyway, we're going on and on and on. And I tell him about, Carl Jung, right? The psychiatrist. Carl, right? Carl Jung?
Yeah, he's Burt Young's cousin.
Yes. Anyway, the guy who goes on about the shadow self, right?
I know Jung fairly well.
Right. So every time I hear someone talking about the bottom coming out, that's when I pull out Carl Jung. Good.
I need to be reminded, please.
Right. So the bottom line is when the bottom pulls out, that's not a bad thing. That means that you're pretending that everything is okay as you're woken up to it. And so your shadow self, if you keep trying to hide it, it will just come out as a monster. That's the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing, right?
Sure.
So if you will just accept and see and work with your shadow self, that's the yin yang, right? And so that's when you can find balance in everything that's troubling you. So I kind of gave him the thumbnail on Carl Jung, and he said, wow, I'm going to go read this guy because he is, he survived. I mean, he got a little banged up, in Afghanistan and Iraq. And he, instead of being crushed by the experience, he said, not all, but most of my friends are either dead or crushed by the experience. And I have to say that it was difficult and I have issues and I'm a little PTSD, but it woke me up in a way that I never was awake. And now I see things. And that's why I can do this job at Walmart and really appreciate it. And I can talk to guys like you, and the people who I work with are really great. And there isn't any, I mean, there's some kids who work here and all they can do is gripe. Me, I am just happy to be alive and be here and not really fucked up. I said, I went through things that I should have been blown up. I mean, and he didn't go into gory details, but I know exactly what happened to him. And so he has taken it for the glass more than half full, right? And once I told him of Carl Jung and gave him the thumbnail on it, I said, I'm going to go, he got his phone and he click, all the Carl Jung things he could find. He was going to read them. I gave him my cards to call me any old time, email me, and, I'll come visit you at Walmart. You've been here a year, I'll come and find you. And so, so that was that. And then there was an old lady who is, she's a holler lady. She's like, almost 70. She's 69. And her Social Security, I mean, she's in a house that she's not paying rent on. But she can't, she had to go back to work. Her Social Security check ain't covering shit. So.
I have a question.
Shoot, baby.
So, since I described to you about the bottom falling out,
yeah,
and I guess I survived.
Yeah.
Does that make me on par to be of service like you are?
Yeah. Well, like you can be. We're all different.
Or like, but I mean,
right? Yeah.
It's the similar realm.
Yes. All you have to do is, be conscious, aware. At least 60% of every day. You can, we're all morons, so I'm a moron 40% of the time. So, and I have, I went and had my toenails were turning into like claws, so I went to the Korean Vietnamese nail shop, and they kind of clipped my toenails, and so I talked to that lady, and they all pretend they don't speak English,
Yeah.
Well, once I started talking to her, and she could speak English better than anybody else, right?
Oh yeah.
And then once I read her palm, all the girls kind of lined up, and then they could speak English. But when I wanted to know how to turn on the back rub machine, just play button.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's funny. I was an asshole today.
No.
Fortunately, I was able to turn it around right quick.
Good.
I know, a lot. Not all of it all comes from when I'm scared, when I'm frightened.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's everybody, really. It's,
we're wired to do that. The arcade man.
It's either love or fear, baby.
Right.
That's how you're going through it. I was going through a lot of fear.
Yep.
And this deli that I sometimes go to get my lunch, and there's a lot of like homeless folks. Right?
Yep.
And this woman, she had a walker, and we kind of made eye contact, and I said, "Oh, hi, I'm just being pleasant." And I'm just getting my stuff. I just want to get back up to the building. I have some stuff I got to take care of. And she said, "Can you buy me a soda?" And I swear to God, I must have looked like a demon to these people. I turned right in her face and just turned around and said, "Absolutely not." And then I was like, "Wow, that's fucked up."
Right. Do you know where that came from?
I know it came from fear because I was startled. And then I just said, "Excuse me, what kind of soda would you like?" "Oh, I'd like a Coke." "You got it." Bought the Coke, and I said, "I apologize for behaving that way. It was out of line." She said, "Oh, it's okay." I said, "No, it's not okay, but thank you."
Well,
I'm grateful that I didn't let that one slip by.
Right.
I don't like to let that kind of slip by. Because, well, one, that kind of shit festers in me.
Yes, in all of us.
And then it's like, you know what? I want to sleep. I want to sleep well. let's sleep well tonight.
Yep.
Not be like, oh wow, I was a real asshole at first.
Well, we do that. All of us do that virtually every day in some way or another. And
That's true.
you were lucky to catch it in its full cinematographic wonder, right?
Yeah, well, I've come from a pretty dark place. So I know how to. I'm an expert at harm. So it's been a process of reprogramming. But that's the benefit of reprogramming is you can start over. And even if she was like, "You scumbag," I would have given her a soda anyway. It's just because it's 101. It's about her. It's not about me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's about me, not about her.
Right, exactly. At least the scumbag part.
Because, it's corrective behavior. That's my responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the benefit is you can dial that stuff back. But and even like, man, I come from. If I didn't put my hands on you, then it was okay. I didn't hurt you, which is obviously not true. And I have a conscience, and I don't have the drugs or the alcohol to anesthetize the conscience. And I feel it deeply when I've done the wrong thing. However, I also look to the Lord's Prayer, where it talks about, because one day, you're going to be the one who's going to want to be pardoned and forgiven.
Yeah.
So that's why I just go around pardoning and forgiving others.
Well,
on a good day, when my spiritual condition is optimal.
But that pardoning comes from ourselves. Bottom line, we have to. That's part of the 12-step thing.
That's exactly it. It's the way I live now. Yeah. So I sort of honor bound to that, which is a good thing.
Yeah. So you caught yourself there, and you redeemed yourself. But did you go on the other side and see where that demon came from? And it's not to say, oh, it's from fear. No. It's a little deeper than that, and that's.
Well, if you want to guide me, fine. I'll share with you where I'm kind of at with that. There's a lot of insecurity of my own financial situation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much that.
Right.
And if I really want to go even deeper than that, fear of not being able to survive.
Right.
Fear of perishing, and ultimately fear of death.
Okay. So have you the survival one and the death one? Once you kind of realize that it's no big deal to die.
Well, this is where the Christian piece for me comes in. My master, Yahshua ben Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
People don't really know his real name.
Right.
They just call him Jesus Christ.
Right.
It's not. That's a title.
I call him Bob's son.
But that's Bob Dobbs.
Yeah, exactly.
But
how many
Bob.
people pick that one up?
You, me, and whoever's listening, if
Right.
they are. Or
Right.
maybe the guy who watches this 6 years from now.
Right.
But it's the transcendence. If I identify with what my master has taught, there is no death, so there's nothing to fear.
Right.
So thank you for pulling me back in.
Good.
And this is God's will. We're having this conversation.
Yep.
And it's so funny too, because as I just said that, you want to look at it through the Reichian lens.
Right.
Whenever I have like an insight like that, my old way of being likes to come at me through my body, like muscular armor, as Reich would talk about.
Right.
And right as I said that, my neck tensed up. I had a muscle spasm. Not big, but I felt it. And
Right.
I know that's sort of like, get thee behind me, Satan.
Yep.
That's Dr. Jekyll or the
Yep.
demon within, or
And that's why
I
you
have a
have
very-
to kind of, because it's not bad or good. It's just if you don't deal with it, it gets worse. That's all.
it gets worse. Absolutely.
So that's all you got to do is kind of
It's in the 12-step world again.
right.
Where the 10th step, when we were wrong, we promptly admitted it. That's it. You admit it, you correct the behavior.
Right. And you not only correct behavior, you
Well, process it, really.
Right,
It's not
process
even-
it,
it's not just, it's really get into like, okay, what is it within what do I need to connect with?
right to
I
deal
need
with
to
it.
get- I need to connect back to the center,
Oh, right,
to
right,
God,
right.
to Christ consciousness.
What will illuminate it and enable
Yeah.
me to see it for what it is, and
Right.
also get a positive dynamic from it, because then you can navigate things that you wouldn't be able to navigate if you didn't deal with that darkness.
Right. It's funny, my sponsor who passed away a couple of years ago, he always used to say that the major principles of the 10th step were both vigilance and perseverance.
Yep.
And I share this a lot with people because, he knew me pretty well. We went through this whole, you're going through essentially a shamanistic experience when you're going through the 12 steps. At least that's my view.
Right.
It's
Right.
it's a consciousness shift. It's a shift in everything, your personality, everything. So this, I really opened myself up to this guy, everything about me. So he knew enough that I am very hard on myself. So he needed me to look at. See, I'm quick to be like, okay, I was wrong here, but he wants me to balance that out with the perseverance, which is really looking at, okay, there's what you need to work on, but it also needs to be like, hey, you just pulled yourself out of that, buddy.
Right.
Like you got to reward yourself there. It's
Right.
not,
Exactly.
It's a gift. It's not a curse.
Right.
See, and I'm glad he gave me that little insight, because I'll go right to, oh, piece of shit, I did it again.
Yep.
And there is no spiritual growth in self-condemnation. None.
No. Self-loathing.
Zero.
No, self-loathing is like seals it in. Right.
Zero. It makes it worse.
Makes it
Or it makes you even like unwilling to want to learn
right.
or to move forward.
Like I said, it
But then
seals
you
it in.
recognize that you're doing it to yourself.
Right.
Yeah. No, thank you. You restored me to sanity.
Okay.
And we did it together.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
that's
Teamwork.
That's important. That's what always Andy used to say. Andy was my sponsor. He passed away. Whenever I would go through step work with him, and I'd always thank him. I'm like, thank you for your time. He said, listen, you're the one doing the work.
Yep.
So that's any sort of, I guess I could say, therapeutic relationship or healing
Yeah.
relationship.
Yeah.
Or just really just any decent friendship, to be
Yep.
quite honest with you.
Yep.
It's a collaborative effort to bring the best out in each other.
Yep. The we and me. Yep.
All right, so now I'm not as suant as I was before.
That a boy.
I don't know if you picked up on too much of it. I try to give people a heads up,
Oh, you know me. I
Correct.
pick up pretty much on everything.
but I try not to say or do anything.
Yep.
Cause damage.
Well, damage comes from the heart. So if you're not, you can be mean and cruel and jump up and down and spit nails, but if it's not coming from your heart, and that damaged heart part, then it's just more a situational issue.
Right. Well, and there's situations, but then again, it's learning to understand that it begins and ends with you. The situation is the situation. What is it that I'm assigning meaning to that situation that is causing me either joy or suffering? And that's the self-reflective
Right.
aspect of this whole.
And
It's like,
I would say
okay,
that
why was I acting?
I would say the number one major motif of this is self-loathing. If you are, manifesting this through self-loathing, that's where it's coming from.
Well, it's that, and it's really the whole thing of this ego wanting to keep a foothold, because only the ego is afraid of death. The spirit
Yes.
of the soul is
Right.
not.
Well, the ego is the manifestation of that self-loathing.
The self, exactly. Yeah, that's what I was reaching for. Yeah, the ego is the manifestation of the self. Or like Eckhart Tolle would talk about the pain body.
Yep.
That's part of it. Because, like I said, as I was waking up, to what we were talking about, all of a sudden my neck cramped. Well, yeah, because it's trying to. It's like a death throw. The ego is being like, no.
Yep.
You advanced a few maturity squares in life. I can't. I've had this guy for a long time. No.
No, I'm not letting go. And see, that's the body. I mean, we aren't the body, and all of the psychological issues can hide in physical manifestations of our bodies. And so,
Oh, you better believe it.
and so that's why, I wake up every morning in serious pain, which gives me the heads up of doing my best, right? Because I have to spend anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour meditating deeply so I can just move my body around. So that's the gift of pain. I mean, back in the day like priests wear that collar. Well, that collar used to be even nastier. It used to have spikes in it. So they'd always be in pain.
Well, there is these Opus Dei people.
Yeah, Opus Dei people still do that.
Yeah. But then again, I mean, I don't know. Maybe this is me being kind of nutty. But I think even that practice, although I'm not really a fan of Opus Dei, but I think that practice in itself, as a lot of the practices of St. Ignatius for one,
Right.
well, he wasn't really into the pain piece.
Right.
But these things can be used. And look at the Native American Sundance ritual, things of that nature.
Yeah, but they do that for a special occasion. They don't do it
Right,
every day.
understood. It's not continuous.
Right.
I get it. But the point I'm getting is with the proper instruction of understanding that it's not just pain for the sake of pain, or
Right.
pain because you're a piece of shit, God hates you.
Right.
It's more of pain, again, like I said before, and this is not certainly, I'm not advocating do this or whatever, it's just an observation. I'll get, let's go on a different track, like yoga, for instance, right? Okay, there's the sort of the exercise surface level, your body will be more supple, and you can twist and bend and stuff, and all good stuff, promotes physical health.
Yep.
But then there's the spiritual piece, and then there's really the most simple spiritual piece of if you put yourself in these prostrations, and they are uncomfortable at first.
Right.
You understand that it's not even the position that your body is in that the uncomfortability is coming from. It's your interpretation of that, and that's where the yogi masters and all that sort of stuff, and what you're doing yourself with your own physical issues are doing. So if the lesson is towards that aim, then I can support it. But where if it's just God hates you, you're a piece of shit, and you should feel pain, well, that's kind of missing the point, particularly if you're a Christian, because it's in the understanding that Christ, the Master, showed us on the cross is the transcendence of pain and recognizing.
Right. The transcendence is the whole thing. That's it.
It's not sitting there and suffering.
Right. And so in the mornings, I'm in pain because not that I'm a piece of shit. It says I've gone to sleep and my central nervous system is unplugged, so I'm no longer on the anatomical level being conscious of keeping my homeostasis in balance. And so all the damage that I did to myself in all those years kind of still there. So so when I wake up in the morning, it's like, oh yeah, ooh, I remember that. Oh yeah, that's that. This. And that is like doing yoga. It's like I have to go into deep meditation and rearrange the energetics so I can go back into homeostasis and walk around and see and do all the stuff I do. And that's why it is a gift, because it makes me consciously aware and then have a conscious intent I am. And I then go to the next step of being my best, and then I'm good to go. So that's why it's not a terrible thing, or and my mom, so I pretty much have everything my parents had, taken care of them for 28 years. So I should have known a little better and maybe not have gained 300 pounds. But anyway, my mom was like, and instead of trying to, okay, I'm going to meditate. I mean, she did meditate. She would get into her chair and look out the window, and then she'd feel better. So she did it in her own way. But she and back in the day, she would smoke a pack of cigarettes and have a few cocktails, and then she'd be okay. But
Look out the window.
yeah, so it's
Better to look out the window than jump out the window.
yes, exactly. Well, she's on one floor; she wouldn't get out too far. So
All right, well.
but the thing is, and that's why when you take it all the way back, there is nothing to fear about. I was with her when she died, and and I went into state when she was, going away, and I kind of traveled with her, and it was not that, she kept saying, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm just, hanging out, going along, see how you're doing, and see if I can help." And she was, "Oh, you're a sweet boy." And I asked her a few questions that she would sheepishly, for 40 years, never tell me the answer, and so no problem. And that's really how humans used to die, with people around them, shepherding them and being there with them, and all the rest. And now they're in a
Bringing them through the bardos.
right. They're in a machined room, fluorescent light humming. Everything you could ever think to force you into the worst position to die.
Yeah. I felt bad that my dad died like that. I mean, and there was nobody there except the nurse, because he was on COVID lockdown.
Right. And
She
that
took
was
a
another.
She took a picture of him
Yeah.
after he died and
Right.
sent it to us.
Well,
It's awful.
yeah. I mean, that was done. All of that was done on purpose. It was like, again, trying to shamanically just tear up the populace.
Yeah.
So what's so were you off from work today, or did you just get home, or?
No, I was in the office. I happen to have a private office with a door. Nobody would disturb us.
Well, that's
So I
nice.
took advantage of it. Otherwise, I'd have been like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
That's all good.
Yep. I just wanted to touch base.
I'm glad, man. It's so funny. God is so good. He sent me a lot of love and people calling me and
Yep.
checking on me and stuff. I just gotta go along with the conspiracy, Bob. People love me. They don't want anything from me.
Yep, exactly.
They don't want nothing from me.
Yeah.
Just don't be an asshole. That's all.
Yep.
Not much to ask for.
And even if you are, because you're human, and there are all these things that can motivate that. Just be aware of it, make amends, learn, move forward. That's all you got to do.
That's all we can do. Thank you.
Yep.
That's all we can do.
Well, Slim, I'm going to leave you because I got to go do something physical with my bowels.
All right. Well, be careful if you have diverticulitis.
Nope, don't have that.
I see stars when I makes a left when it should make a right.
Yep.
Oh boy. All
I
right.
just know when it's
Good
the
to
right
hear.
time. Okay, Slim, I'll call you later. Sometime
Be
this
safe.
weekend,
God
I'll
bless you.
try.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.
Okay. Well, gang, I don't know how many are there or watch, but I got to go. Till next time.